7 ways leaders and managers lose credibility with me. This is important for almost everyone. Almost everyone in the workforce either is a leader and manager or they have a leader or manager. And if you are a leader or manager, these 7 behaviors, you can avoid them to send more positive and confident signals to your reports, inspire confidence and performance in your team. If you have a manager, many people in the workforce that have managers, I see, they get feedback from their manager and they need to understand the solution to this ambiguous problem. Do I need to change my behavior or does the manager need to change their behavior? The point of this video is not dealing with negative feedback. The usual answer is that you do want to be accommodating in the short run and you might want to explore exiting the team or company. There's also another option of managing up or influencing your manager. I'm not going to deal with those techniques here. Drop a comment if you're interested in skills, ways to persuade and manage up. Here, I'm just communicating the 7 signals that I consider pretty important smells that you might be dealing with a low performance manager or leader. Number 1 is relaying inaccurate information. Jeff Bezos likes to say that leaders are right a lot. And the other case is also true that low performing leaders are wrong a lot. And so if your manager is being candid, they're stating things from their point of view, this is not hearsay, they really believe this, and they're just plain wrong, you might be dealing with a low performance manager. The second is if they relay inaccurate information from someone else. So a good manager is able to shield, defend, and filter, suss out what's really going on. They don't just take everything at face value. They can actually investigate and put together a pattern of what's really going on. A low performing manager might just relay messages in a sort of nonchalant way and might even be revealing details about who said what, and this can create a lot of chaos, confusion in the team. Or they may take things at face value. You might have an over-trusting manager who doesn't even bother to reconcile differences between members and just sort of makes plain the fact that there are differences between members. Generally, this is going to lead to a painful team dynamic. A third negative behavior is passing off the manager's feedback as if it's from the team. So sometimes managers don't want to be candid. They don't want to create a negative relationship with their report, but they do want to deliver value. And so they will mislead the receiver of the feedback. They'll say, I heard it from the team, X, Y, and Z. When this is sometimes a pure fabrication, that no one else in the team thinks this. It's really just a way for the manager to give feedback in a way that doesn't feel as bad to them, but it's actually much, much worse for the whole team. A fourth way you'll lose credibility with me is if you've never promoted anyone at my level. So among these 7 ways to lose credibility with me, they are not equally weighted. This one is not the worst. If you've never promoted anyone from my level before, it doesn't necessarily even mean that you're like a bad manager. It means you just might not be a strong enough manager to carry me forward in my career. And so I might be looking around for other leaders in the organization, maybe your skip, maybe across teams, and I might be looking for ways, as the report, I might be looking for ways that I can grow my career, and I might be developing trust with other people than my direct manager. If that direct manager seems to be signaling to me that they don't really know how to get me promoted. The 5th way to lose credibility with me is if you've never worked in my role or you have little technical experience. And this can come in a few flavors. The reddest flag is if you're fresh out of business school and then you're not giving any deference to the technical engineers. You're doing things like saying, we need this project delivered by May 1st, and you're just going to have to get it done by May 1st. And you have no way to contribute to make that command successful. This is the reddest sort of flag. You give no deference to your engineers. A slightly better version of this is a manager who knows their own weakness, and they do give deference to the tech leads. And they say something like, you know, the company wants this. I don't know how to make that happen. I'm trusting y'all, but I will step in and work as, you know, defense or try to work with you to reach a mutually amicable project deadline or whatever it is, scope negotiation and so on. It's still not as green of a flag as someone who really has a strong technical background, but you can see that it's better than the alternative, right? And then the third thing that might happen here is someone who has technical experience in another role, and you'll see this happen sometimes with engineering managers, directors, VPs, CTOs. Maybe they had a really strong history going through engineering, and now they're managing over the data science team, or the reverse. They did a great job in data science, so they have a technical background, but there's something about this role they don't quite get. They don't quite get a certain engineering process or a certain security ops or DevOps process because they came up through the management chain from another job family background. Again, in these cases, if they're smart, they'll know their own weakness and give deference as appropriate. So it's a slight knock if you don't have skills to help me. It's a much bigger knock if that deficit is supplemented by a lack of self-awareness. That's actually the bigger problem. Number 6 is if you take credit for the things me and my teammates did. So if you are giving credit to your team and you're recognizing key players, that's a green flag. If you're taking credit for the team and you're not mentioning any of the key individuals, I want to hear you brag about Jim and Sarah, who actually worked on the project, instead of just making it look like this is you and your team is this sort of amorphous, ambiguous, interchangeable group of social mass where the face of the team is you. Red flag. I want you to give specific and loud credit to the key technical contributors involved in the project. If you're sharing in that credibility, perfect. That's exactly what you should do as the manager. But if you're taking that credibility, that becomes a huge red flag, and you're going to take the confidence and the happiness of your team down a cliff. They're really not going to like you if you do that. And you can see this is for managers and leaders. If you're the tech lead and you played a leadership role, but you had technical contributors under you, you should give loud credit to those people too. If you, as a tech lead or an architect, if you are taking credit, so you had some technical role, but you're not mentioning the other people that also had technical roles, this is a huge red flag too. Cross-functional partners, shout them out. And number 7, as a manager or leader, if you're not driving the team in a positive direction, and this could be growth, focus, impact, or health, and positive attitude. So some of the things that might happen here, one, you might have a leader who has a pet project that they just think is really cool and interesting, and they want to get that done, and they are not considering the business impact. So a lot of times we hear from managers and leadership that engineers are not very skilled at thinking about business impact, which may often be the case. But sometimes you'll have a manager or a director that's not really thinking as much about business impact as they are thinking about the shiny object. So shiny object syndrome impacting anyone from the technical contributor all the way up to the executives. Shiny object syndrome is a red flag anywhere. And if I see that impacting you as a manager or a leader, I'm going to be worried as your report, this team may be going the wrong direction. So that could be an example of focus. Another example with focus is someone who might be an over-worrier or an over-sharer, someone who comes to the meeting and their intent may be positive, often it is, that they want to keep the team updated, but what they end up doing is crowding out the meeting where we have stuff to do, and they're just talking about the gossip around the company. That's not constructive. It can even turn into worry, and it can even turn into a negative attitude, and that sours everyone under the tree, the organizational tree under that leader gets negatively impacted. And it also becomes a loss of focus. So as leaders, we want to be creating prioritization and focus that's ideally aligned to the business. And the antithesis of that would be distracting from those things, creating noise, and detracting from impact. And then the other one would just be health. So along with negative attitude, if you're not letting your people take off work, if you are shaming people, Jim missed a meeting because he got sick in the middle of the day. And so, he didn't call ahead and put his notice on his calendar or whatever. Okay, have a little empathy. The person is not feeling well. Assuming that's true. If your report is lying, okay, that's a problem. And you're right to call that out. But assuming that they really got sick after lunch, maybe they had a bad lunch and they missed the meeting, let your people be healthy, let your people have rest. That's another thing that's really negative. Some of these companies will offer unlimited time off, and we know that there are traps involved with that, where in the background leadership has this crossing their fingers, unlimited time off, but only if you're really cool. These people signed up to have that as part of the benefit, and we want to encourage utilization of these benefits in order to have a happy and healthy team. And as a leader or manager on your team, you should be encouraging that too, not trying to take advantage or create a keyhole where, well, the company has time off, but on this team, we're grinding on Saturday. Don't do that. That was the 7 ways to lose credibility with me. Drop a comment if you want to hear more about how to manage up if you're a report in this situation. Maybe you're deciding whether to stick with a team or leave the team, stick with a company or leave the company. And you need to know, well, if I stay here, what do I do? I haven't really dove into how do you actually deal with a poor manager? Here I'm just helping identify one. Drop a comment if you're interested in more.